Oh,
Right.
hello, Dr. Liz Anderson. How are you?
I'm really good. I'm great.
And you've got something happening today. There's
I
an opening.
do. No, it's not an opening.
Oh, okay.
It's a meet and greet for all the artists who are in the ScenicWorld Art Prize. And it's a sculpture prize and it's in the Blue Mountains. So I'm up here to check out the site, to work out the exhibition, where the actual exhibition will happen in April and it will coincide with kind of the beginnings of winter and darkness and the different things that happen with the environment up here in the mountains, which is very different.
So it's on for a while.
It's on for a while and it's an outdoors exhibition. So what happens is you get to ScenicWorld and you get one of those fabulous cars that you go down the mountain. We're talking like old railway cars.
Is that the Scenic Railway?
That's the one. So off you go. Woo!
Really? We get to go
Can
on
we
that?
go? Woo! One more time. Down to the bottom.
We get to go on that?
Pengy, woo! Woo! Pengy would love it. Pengy's coming for sure. However, I'm not sure you'll like my work though, Pengy. So we get to the bottom and you walk along the boardwalk and there are different artworks by different artists. Some you'll know, some you won't. And my piece, which I'll get to fairly quickly, is based on a series of works I started doing about... I think last year I was in the Tarkine filming for my video project called The Water Collection, where I've been all over the world looking at water in all its forms and filming it. So with this though, I found in the Tarkine that I had Tasmanian tigers.
Woohoo!
Because the Tarkine is, what they say, it's the last place where people of repute will actually say they've seen them.
Oh,
Not
okay.
nutcases, not weekend tiger finders. In fact, they don't like me calling it tigger.
Oh, so
My
this
work's
is
called
why-
tigger.
That's why it's called Tigger.
It's about Tasmanian tigers.
Oh, right. Okay, I gotcha.
Okay, because what I started to look at in terms of weather stories was I'd looked at where animals and creatures and things had been moved because of the weather and how those fitted into local legend and stories. And just recently I was in Iceland working on a project where there are stories of trolls and the most amazing kind of characters that come out of our fairy tales. But in fact they're stories about weather. If you break down what the stories are about, they're about telling us about darkness, about light, about the spirits of the rocks, invisible friends, legends that come from something real that are now a legend, and you can track it through all sorts of cultures, all sorts of histories. So I looked back at my Tarkine footage, which is one of the last pretty much pristine, although not quite, kind of places in the world really, but in Australia. And when you drive through, there's this point where the mining stops and the forest starts, which may change the way mining moves in this country quite quickly. But at the moment it's fairly pristine. And they talked about the Tasmanian tiger, which to me had always been this kind of almost nutty thing. But looking at things that happened, the Tasmanian tiger, when it was first declared endangered, museums from around the world sent people, hunters basically, to get a specimen for their museum. So I started going through historically the ships loading things and stuff for people and collections and boats that went back to other places that had specimens. So for instance, when I started doing this research, I was in Denmark, and I found in Oslo, which is in a nearby country. So I flipped over to Oslo because they had a Tasmanian tiger and photographed that tiger. And it had been one of the ones that was in a listing, a boat's listing that had come. Everyone collected specimens in those days, from old days and from new days. So they're actually scattered around the world. And then when I came up to the Blue Mountains, and more precisely across to the Jenolan Caves, to work on that as a part of what happens to water. They had found Tasmanian tiger remnants, but it was called the tiger wolf in those days. So they've got bits of bone and bits of signs through these mountains that would be behind me, but there's a house there and a beautiful garden. So it comes to all of that. So they were here. We don't think of them being on the mainland, but they were. Okay. So in the artwork, I developed these images that I've been making of tigers and the video footage people had, and started cutting it out and doing drawings and overlaying them. So I've developed 3 tiger images. I've made them into clear plastic cushions that are about this big, blow-up inflatables, and they'll be suspended through the bush, 100 of them, with the different images, the 3 that I've made. And so it will be like see them or not see them. You'll have to look for them like you look for Tasmanian tigers and the things that aren't quite there. It's like in Iceland you look for trolls because they're things that are not quite there. Trolls really mean something else. Tasmanian tigers really mean something else. They're about the legend of the beast. They're about the idea of biodiversity. Do you believe in biodiversity? What does that mean? Can you not believe in biodiversity? Some people don't, because they don't believe in diversity itself. And so you have to accept the concept of diversity. So this is about looking in to the spirit of the beast that once probably roamed here. And I brought it back.
Cool. So
in April, where you come up
okay,
to ScenicWorld, bring your own torch, I'd suggest at this point, and have a look at it.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Dr. Lisa Anderson.
Thanks, Fleur, and thanks, Pengy.
Pengy.